Imagine a shark, the length of a city bus, a snake so thick you could sit inside its coiled body, a bird whose wingspan was wider than a small airplane. They are not myths. They are not exaggerations. They were real for millions of years. The Earth did not belong to humans. It belonged to giants, creatures so massive that if you stood next to them, you wouldn't look brave, you would look irrelevant. And here's the unsettling part. Nature didn't stop at dinosaurs. It pushed size, strength, and scale to limits we can barely imagine today. So how far did it go? How big did life on Earth actually become? And why did these monsters disappear, leaving the planet to creatures as small as us? Tonight, you're about to see the true size of prehistoric giants. And by the end, you may never feel the same walking through nature again. If you think today's great white sharks are terrifying, Megalodon makes them look like toys. Megalodon was not just a bigger shark. It was the largest predator to ever swim the oceans. Scientists estimate its length between 15 and 18 meters. Some believe it reached 20 meters. That's the size of an articulated city bus. Its weight, between 50 and 100 tons. Each tooth measured up to 18 centimeters, larger than an adult human hand. Now imagine this. A modern great white shark fits inside Megalodon 3 times. A small car could fit inside its mouth. Its bite force, an estimated 18 tons of pressure. For comparison, a Tyrannosaurus Rex bit with about 6 tons. Megalodon didn't just hunt whales, it dominated them. So why was it so big? The ancient oceans were warmer, filled with massive prey. Primitive whales, no real competitors. Megalodon ruled the seas for nearly 20 million years. Then the planet changed. The oceans cooled. Whales migrated to colder waters. Smaller, faster sharks adapted better. And slowly, the king starved. But if Megalodon existed today, humans wouldn't be predators. We would be e-snacks 60 million years ago. Shortly after the dinosaurs vanished, something else rose. Titanoboa, the largest snake to ever exist. It stretched between 12 and 15 meters long. That's twice the size of the largest anaconda alive today. Its weight exceeded 1 ton, and its body over 1 meter thick at its widest point. Titanoboa lived in what is now Colombia, a hot, swampy world. And it didn't hunt small animals. It crushed adult crocodiles, 3 to 4 meters long, wrapped around them, squeezing until breathing stopped. Why was it so massive? Because reptiles grow larger in hotter climates. Back then, the Earth was much warmer. There was more food, no natural predators. Titanoboa sat at the very top of the food chain, but as the planet cooled, creatures like this became impossible to sustain. The world shrank, and so did its monsters. If you think large birds are fragile, meet Argentavis magnificens, the largest flying bird ever discovered. Its wingspan reached 7 meters, wider than a small airplane. Standing upright, it was 2 meters tall. Its skull alone measured 45 centimeters. and it weighed around 70 kilograms. So how did something this big fly? It didn't flap constantly. Argentavis used thermal air currents. It soared, gliding for hours. When it dove, it could reach speeds of 240 kilometers per hour. Taking off was difficult. It needed strong wind or a long running start. Argentavis ruled the skies of ancient Argentina around 6 million years ago. It likely fed on carrion, but could hunt medium-sized animals if needed, to anything below Tage. The sky itself was dangerous. Now imagine walking through a forest and hearing something moving behind you, not a predator. An insect, Arthropleura, was the largest land arthropod that ever lived. It reached 2.5 meters in length, about the size of a small crocodile. It looked like a centipede, but as long as a human is tall. This was possible for one reason. During the Carboniferous period, oxygen levels reached 35%. Today, only 21%. More oxygen meant insects could grow far larger. Arthropleura was likely herbivorous, not aggressive. But imagine encountering something like this in the wild. Harmless, but unforgettable when oxygen levels dropped, so did the giants. And these weren't the only ones. Dunkleistus, a 10-meter armored fish with bone-crushing jaws. Liopleurodon, a marine reptile with a bite stronger than T-Rex. Quetzalcoatlus, a flying reptile with an 11-meter wingspan. Spinosaurus, longer than T-Rex, and possibly semi-aquatic. Paraceratherium, the largest land mammal ever, taller than giraffes. Gecalopterus, a sea scorpion, over 2.5 meters low. The past wasn't small. It was colossal. There's no single reason. Higher oxygen levels, warmer global temperatures, endless food, and evolution itself, a biological arms race. Bigger predators demanded bigger prey. Bigger prey demanded bigger defenses. One myth needs to die, though. Gravity was no. Weaker. The Earth hasn't changed. Life did, because giants are fragile. They need enormous amounts of food. They reproduce slowly. And when disaster strikes, they're the first to fall. Asteroids, climate shifts, oxygen drops. Smaller, faster animals survive. That's why ALS inherited the planet. Efficiency beat size. Megalodon would destroy global fishing. Titanoboa would dominate tropical ecosystems. Argentavis would turn skies into hazards. Modern civilization could not coexist with We live in a world designed for smaller life. For millions of years, real monsters ruled this planet. We are only here because they disappeared. And the biggest creature of all, it still lives today. The blue whale, 30 meters long, 200 tons, the largest animal to ever exist. Nature has built giants before, and if conditions change, it could do it again. So tell me, which of these creatures terrifies you the most?